Commerce students. Okay, da. Fine. A Thing of Beauty, it's a poem, a romantic poem written by John Keats. Okay, John Keats is a romantic poet. He just lived for 25 years. Okay, like Bharadiyar is around. He lived for 38 years, and he's very less. At the age of 25, he died. Clear. So apart from what are all the things are not given in the text, I'm saying John Keats he published his compositions, his write-ups only for 4 years. Okay, only for 4 years. Okay, he is a well-known poet in English literature. However, he lived for only 25 years. Okay, he published all of his works only for 4 years, and at the age of 25, he died of TB. So you all know what is TB. Clear? Fine. He's a specialist in writing odes. Okay, he wrote many odes: "Ode to Nightingale," "Ode on a Grecian," and "Sleep," and poetry. Clear. And also he wrote a sonnet. He wrote sonnet. Okay, famous sonnet called "On First Looking into Chapman's Homer." On first looking into Chapman's Homer. Okay, that is a sonnet that he has written, famous sonnet. Clear. The Thing of Beauty. The Thing of Beauty is an excerpt taken from the long poem called Endymion. Okay. Thing of Beauty is an excerpt taken from the long poem. Okay. Endymion. Endymion is written. It is written in it is written with rhyming couplets. Okay, if you see first two lines with the same rhyme scheme, and second two lines, two lines are with the same rhyme scheme, rhyming couplets. You can call it as a rhyming couplets. Okay, in iambic pentameter. Okay, iambic pentameter. Anybody knows what is the meaning of iambic pentameter? Rhyming couplets you can understand seeing the poem itself. Anybody tell me iambic pentameter? I hope I discussed this one in the class about iambic pentameter when I discussed a sonnet. Iambic pentameter. Anybody? Say yes or no. Do you know or not? Then I'll go. Okay, da. Very good, Linda. Linda, be frank. If you don't know, please say me, and then I'll then continue. We need not waste the time. Fine. Iambic pentameters means a poet follows 5 sets of syllables. 5 sets of syllables. For example, you know what is the meaning of syllable? Okay. C, B, begin. How many syllables are there? I think we discussed about that in the class. How many syllables are there in this word, begin? How many syllables are there? 2 syllables. Yeah. Okay. Begin. Begin. B 1 syllable. Begin another syllable. Clear. Where the stress falls on. Where the stress falls on. Where the stress falls on. Which syllable? First syllable or second syllable? B is first syllable. Gin is the second syllable. Where the stress falls on. First, Johanna, no. As Lara said, in second syllable here, begin, begin. So stress falls on in the second syllable. Clear. So it has 2 syllables. One unstressed, another one is stressed. Okay, one unstressed, one is stressed. Clear. So unstressed syllable followed by stressed syllable. Unstressed syllable followed by stressed syllable. So this is one set. This is one set. Like that, okay. If you use 5 sets, if you use 5 sets in a line, that is called iambic pentameter. Okay. stressed syllable followed by unstressed, or unstressed followed by stressed, like that. If you use five sets of syllables, totally 10 syllables, that is called what is syllable? Adeline, what is syllable? Dividing a word into sound units. Dividing a word into sound units. Clear? Begin. In each syllable, there should be a vowel sound. There should be a vowel sound. Clear? So, don't think that, you can simply syllabify the word. Definitely, in each syllable, there should be a vowel sound. Clear? For example, see the word cry, cry, cry. Okay, how many syllables are there? How many syllables are there? How many syllables are there? Come on, ma, make it fast. One, yeah. Yes, Jonah. It is only one syllable we have. As I said, in each syllable you're supposed to have one vowel sound. I think there is no vowel letter. How can you say it is a syllable? Jonah, if you know, answer me. Or any other. Okay, only one syllable, I understood, but as I said, in every syllable there should be a vowel sound, but here all are consonants only, and the sound of vowel I, yeah, not only ida. Okay, see, if you transcribe, you will be getting two vowels. Okay, this is a transcription you can see in the dictionary. Okay, if you see, you have diphthong. Diphthong is a combination of two vowels. Okay, a and I, right? Okay, so as I said, I didn't use a vowel letter, I said a vowel sound. Fine, vowel sound only I said, and you should think about only sound. Fine, like that. Okay, stressed syllable followed by unstressed, or unstressed syllable followed by stressed, it is called one set. Okay, if you use five sets of syllables, okay, 5 into 2, 10 syllables. Okay, if you follow this one, that is called iambic pentameter. Don't think it is very easy. Actually, John Keats, however, he lived for only 25 years, and he just published his works for 4 years, and he is very good poet. Okay, Shakespeare, if you see Shakespeare in sonnets, okay, in all 154 sonnets, you can see iambic pentameter. Shakespeare is very good in using iambic pentameter. Okay, so I hope you can understand that one, and we'll discuss the remaining thing about the poet, what is given in the text. A thing of beauty. A thing of beauty about the poet. John Keats, born on 1795, died on 1821, was a British romantic poet, although trained to be a surgeon. Okay, Keats decided to devote himself wholly to poetry. Keats' secrets, his power to sway and delight the readers, okay, lies primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations in the terms of language. Actually, John Keats he was trying to be a surgeon. Okay, we all know that, however you are in a different profession, I don't think that you should only undertake that profession. And you can see many actors and actresses, those who are trying to be a doctor, they are acting in movies. I hope you can understand who I mean. Okay, we don't want to discuss further. Okay, so however he was trying to be a surgeon. Okay, so he dedicated himself to writing. Clear? And what is the power of Keats? And through his compositions, through his write-up, he may sway and delight, he may make the readers happy. Okay, so okay, he brings up the living moods. He brings up the living his moods and aspirations in the terms of a language. See, he brings up those things in the terms of a language through his write-ups. The following is an excerpt taken from his poem Endymion. Okay, as I said already, a poetic romance. A poetic romance. The poem is based on the Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and a poet who lived in the Mount Latmos, had a vision of a Cynthia, okay, the moon goddesses. Clear. See, the protagonist of the story, okay, is a Greek legend, is a shepherd. Okay, so actually he loves the Greek goddesses, moon goddesses called Cynthia. Actually, it is Slees. It is a Slees that name only changed as a Cynthia. Okay, originally in Greek it is a Slees. Okay, now they changed it to Cynthia. Okay, moon goddesses, and the enchanted youth resolved to seek her out, and she wandered away through the forest and down under the tree. Okay, so this dedicated young man, what he wanted to see Cynthia. Okay, to propose her. Fine. What is the meaning of romance, Ra? What is the meaning of romance? What is the meaning of romance? Love. Okay, so don't think that romance is just feeling between person to person. Okay, okay, that is somehow different. But don't think that is alone romance. Even if you got excited, see, romance is getting excited to see someone, as you say, Adeline, yeah, Charan, as you said, admiring of something love to God, Linda. Okay, fine. Um, Romance means is getting sudden excitement to see someone or something. I didn't say someone. Adlene, am I right? Feeling in books, ah. Yeah, excitement is a feeling only. See, a sudden excitement to see a person or a thing. Okay, so here, is a romantic poet, and he got excited to see a few things. Okay, to few things, not few persons. Clear. So, what are all the beautiful things? What are all the beautiful things are there in the world? Okay, he says that they are everlasting. They are everlasting. They are endless fountain. They are endless fountain from the immortal drink. Clear. So, finally, I like that, the particular phrase towards the end. The poet says that all the beautiful things are poured from the heaven. God opens his doom. Doom means the door. He opens the heavens door and he pours all the beautiful things onto the earth. That's the meaning of that. Okay, it's just a outline. Is a just an outline of the poem. Any doubts in that? Is it clear? Shall we discuss line by line? Very important poem. Very important poem. Clear. Whatever I say, meanings and poetic devices. Whatever I say, please make it down. Because you are getting 1 marks this time. We are not sure where they, from where they will ask, from the poem or prose. They can ask from anywhere. Clear. Fine. So please make a note. It's my humble request. You are not in 11th standard. You are in 12th standard. Within a few months, you are going to appear for board examination. Clear. However, we are in this pandemic, and so we cannot do anything. We're supposed to learn. I think maybe I am audible. My video is clear. At least I am trying to match how I take in the class. Fine. So I'll start from the first line. Before you read, what pleasure does a beautiful thing give us? Are beautiful things worth treasuring? Clear. Have you ever enjoyed seeing beautiful things in the earth? Like, when you are sitting on the seashore, wondering about seeing the waves, the ocean, did you enjoy? Have you, thought about the beautiness of ocean, or if you thought about the nature? I saw, even in the school, I saw, some of you are great artists, that used to paint some natural things. Okay, definitely. Okay, we will. You know, we all may have such emotions like John Keats. Okay, we are all emotional beings. We are all emotional beings, and we don't have emotions. We are not called as humans. You should not call yourself as a human being. Okay, first line. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Okay, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Clear. See, if you see any beautiful thing in the world, okay, you can be so happy. It is a joy forever till your death. Till your death, you can enjoy. You can be very happy seeing the beautiful things in the world. Okay, its loveliness increases, it will never pass into nothingness. Okay, it loveliness, okay, the beauty of a beautiful things, the beauty of a beautiful things, it increases, it keeps on increasing. Okay, it will never pass into nothingness. Nothingness, pass into means turn into nothingness. Okay, so the beauty of beautiful things will not come to an end. It is everlasting, and it keeps on increasing. Clear? Is it clear? Those two lines, is it clear? Any doubts in that? Because I said you are in 12th standard, each word and each line is very important. Clear, ma? Very good, thank you. But will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Okay, so but will keep a bower. Bower means a shady place. Bower means shady place. Bower means shady place. Okay, so the beautiful things, especially trees. Okay, trees, they give us a they give us shade, they give us a shade. Okay, and what you can do, you can sleep under the tree, you can sleep under the tree, or you can sleep in the shade. You can have a sweet sleep, sound sleep. Okay, where you can have a sweet dreams. Okay, if you have sound dreams, you may get a sweet dreams. Clear? If you are depressed and if you are dreaming, that's all, you may have a nightmares, bad dreams only. Am I right? Okay, when you are so tired and when you are so happy, when you get when you if you sleep the time, definitely you may get a sweet dreams. But when you are depressed, only you will get nightmares. Am I right, Ra? Am I right? Yes. So, the beauty gives us a bower. Beauty gives us a bower. Bower means a shady place. Okay. You can sleep in the shady place. In the shade, you can sleep. If you sleep, if you have a sound sleep, you may get sweet dreams. You may get sweet dreams. Clear? And sweet dreams. And whenever you have a sound sleep, okay, definitely you can be healthy. Okay, if you are not depressed, if you are not depressed, if you are getting sleep regularly, proper sleep or sound sleep regularly, definitely you will be healthy. Clear? So if you get a shade, you can sleep there. If you get a shade, you can sleep and you can get sweet dreams and sound health. Okay, quiet breathing. Clear? Therefore, on every morrow, morrow means tomorrow, every day, every following day, or are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth? Clear. So what I know, when we have a shade, and in the shade we are sleeping. In the shade we are sleeping, and we are getting a sound sleep. Okay, in that sound sleep we are not getting nightmares. We have sweet dreams. Okay, and whenever we have sound sleep, and we can be healthy. So if we sleep well in the night, every morrow, Every tomorrow we are circling. Wreathing means circling or covering. We are covering a flowery band. Okay, flowery band here is fresh flowers. Fresh flowers. Okay, we are like a fresh flowers. We are like a fresh flowers to bind. Okay, what is the meaning of we are like a fresh flowers. We tie ourselves to the earth. We tie ourselves to the earth. Okay, see, when we have a sound sleep, okay, and we'll wake up very fresh in the following day. Okay, like a fresh flower. Like a fresh flower, we bind ourselves, we tie ourselves with the earth. Okay, see, if you are very fresh, if you are very fresh in the morning, you may feel that you can achieve anything in the particular, because you are so fresh. Okay, wreathing means covering or circling. Arlin, wreathing means covering or circling. Okay, any doubts till that? Any doubts till that? Any doubts? Clear? Others? Okay, very good. Flowery band, underline that one. That is imagery. That is imagery. Okay. See, we are imagined as fresh flowers. Okay. You can see in the morning fresh flowers. Okay. That is a imagery, poetic device. Okay, spite of a despondent, spite of a despondence. Spite means a desire to offend someone, desire to offend someone. Definitely, most of us may have desire to offend others. We often offend others, especially our friends or strangers or our family members or relatives. Okay, so spite of a despondent. Spite means a desire to offend others, to offend someone or others. Okay, despondence. Okay, one by one, please make a note. Despondence means disheartened, disheartened or hopeless. See, if you write any exam, okay, for example, there are some max students, max exam, you may be disheartened, hopeless that you may not getting good marks or you may not getting pass marks. Okay, so disheartened or hopeless, or you may think that okay, you may not succeed in the task that you have undertaken. Clear? So despondence means disheartened or hopeless, of inhuman. Okay, being inhuman. See, being a human, you should be very kind, you should be very generous, okay, to others. Clear? Okay, if you are not, you are inhuman. As I said, we are all emotional beings. Those emotions you cannot see in animals. However, okay, animals they don't kill. A tiger will not kill another tiger, but we human beings, we are killing fellow human beings. Clear? Of inhuman, dearth of noble natures. Dearth means a scarcity. Dearth means a scarcity, okay, or lack of something. Lack of noble natures. Okay, we should be very noble. We should be very noble to others. Okay, by birth. Okay, every child is born in the world is good. It's all about whether she's good or bad in the future. It depends on the environment, how he or she is brought up. Clear? So lack of noble natures. Clear? First decide to offend someone, or having disheartedness or hopelessness, or being inhuman, or lack of noble natures, of gloomy days, of gloomy days. Clear? Underline the phrase gloomy days. It is called a transferred epithet. It is called transferred epithet. Transferred epithet. Transferred epithet means it's nothing. We all know that an adjective, okay, it qualifies the noun. It qualifies the noun. Gloomy is an adjective. Gloomy is an adjective. Okay, gloom means a dark. Gloom means a dark. Gloomy days means it's not a dark days. Okay, dark days means a night days. Okay, or when we don't have light in the daytime, dark, So gloom, the word adjective, okay, it gives some other meaning. It gives some other meaning. Okay, so that is called the transferred epithet. Gloomy here means a saddened days, saddened days, saddened days, saddened days. Clear? That is the meaning of gloomy days. Gloomy days is a transferred epithet. Transferred epithet. Clear? Of all unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. See, of all unhealthy and over darkened ways, whenever we are sad, whenever we are sad, in sorrow, whenever we were crying, weeping, facing a lot of obstacles. Okay, so those things desire to offend someone, or having disorderness or hopelessness, being inhuman, lack of noble natures, or when we are so sad. Okay, all these things, being unhealthy, all these things made us to search for something, to search for a better thing, to search for better thing. Okay, better thing compared to those the negative things that we are facing, that we are coming across, that we have in our life. Yes, in spite of all. Yes, in spite of all. Okay, what's the meaning of that? In spite of having all those things, all those bad things, negative things, okay, that we come across in the world when we live. Okay, in spite of all, some shape of a beauty, some shape of a beauty moves away the pall. Clear? Okay, the pall refers, generally pall means a dark cloud. Okay, dark cloud is refers to the what is that, our problems. Okay, whenever we are sad. Okay, so it refers to our problems. Clear? Or gloomy days. Okay, so some shape of a beauty, it moves away all these things from us, all these negative things from us, all these negative things from us. Okay, moves away Paul from our dark spirits. Okay, see what line is a transferred epithet. In the middle, of noble natures of gloomy days. Jonah, underline the phrase gloomy days. That is transferred epithet. Jonah, got it? Underline the phrase gloomy days. Yeah, fine. So in spite of having all those negative things when we live in the world, okay, there is some shape of beauty that drives away all these negative things from our dark spirits, from our evil spirits. That's the meaning of that. From our evil spirits. Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts till that? Any doubts? Did you note down all these things? Okay. Underline the phrase beauty moves away the pall, especially the pall. Moves away the pall. It is a metaphor. Metaphor. Pall means a dark cloud. Okay, but here dark, it is compared to the gloomy days. Okay, the sadness. Clear? So metaphor. That is a metaphor. Moves away the pall. Underline that. That is a metaphor. That line, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. That is a metaphor. Okay. And now, one by one, we are going to see what are all the beautiful things in the world. What are all the beautiful things in the world? Clear? Such the sun, the moon. Okay. First, John Keats says that first beautiful thing he means is the sun, the moon, the sun, the moon, the trees old and young. The trees old and young, they are sprouting a shady boon. Okay, sprouting means you all know that to develop in a large number. To develop in a large number. That is the meaning of sprouting. Shady boon, a shade which is helpful for someone to take rest. Shady boon, means a shade which is helpful to someone to take rest. Clear? A shade which is helpful to someone to take a rest. Clear? Fine. So both old trees and young trees, they are suddenly developing in a large number, giving a boon, a shade to all. Okay, especially a shade to the simple sheep. Okay, and then such are daffodils. Daffodils are flowers. Daffodils are flowers. I think we might have read the poem Daffodils, which is written by William Wordsworth. Okay, in your early days, in early classes. Okay, so such are daffodils. Okay, next beautiful thing. See, first one is the sun, second one moon, and third one is trees and trees old and young. Okay, which gives a shade to the simple sheep. And next one is daffodils, the flowers. Where are they? With the green world they live in. With the green world they live in. They are in the they are blossomed in the green field. Okay, the daffodils. And then clear rills, underline the word rills means streams of running water, clear rills. Okay, so the running water is very fresh in the streams. Okay, so what are the clear rills? Next beautiful thing is clear rills. What the clear rills, the beauty, fresh streams do that for themselves a cooling covered make against the hot season. Okay, they are making the land very cool. They are making the land very cool in against the hot season, especially in the summer season, hot season. Okay, the clear rills, those clear rills make that hot season to cool. Okay, that is the meaning. Covered means not openly known. Covered means not openly known. Okay, daffodils and then clear rails. Okay, which makes the land very cool against the hot season. And the next, the mid forest break. Okay, so that in the middle of the forest. Okay, it is so thickest. It is so thickest, rich with the sprinkling of a fair musk rose of bloom, fair musk rose blooms. Okay, so next he says the next beautiful thing he says is musk rose. Where are the musk rose? In the middle of the forest. In the middle of the forest, they are blossoms. Okay, they are they were sprinkled. Sprinkle means scattered. They are scattered on the land, on the meadow, on the land in the middle of the forest. Okay, so the musk rose. So next beautiful thing is musk rose. Okay, any doubts till there? What is the meaning? Rill means water. Streams, streams, don't you know? River, that sub takes streams are a smaller one. Okay, rich is a bigger one. Sorry, river is a bigger one. Streams are which are diverted, small streams diverted from the river. Okay, fine. And next, very important one. And such too is the grandeur of our dooms. We have imagined for the mighty dead. Okay, that is a grandeur. There is a grandeur. There is a beauty. There is a beauty even in the death. There is a beauty even in the death. Okay, so even the mighty people, those who have dead, whenever we come to know about them, okay, it inspires us. It inspires us. Okay, especially Abdul Kalam is a legend. He's a legend. He has passed away. Okay, but there is a beauty even in his death. Clear. Even after his death, whenever we he's a mighty legend, mighty person. Okay, whenever we think about him, definitely we are inspired. Are you? Or are you not? Aren't you? Okay, so the John Keats says that there is a beauty even in the death. Okay, dooms means last day of our existence. Okay, probably when you die, last day of our existence that you exist the world, last day of existence. We have imagined for the mighty dead. We have imagined for mighty dead. We, those who ever died, those whoever died, okay, after their death, and if they are very powerful when they live, okay, like Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great. Whenever we think about them, whenever we heard about them, we are inspired. We are inspired. We are motivated. We are inspired. We are motivated. Underline the phrase mighty dead. Mighty dead. Mighty dead. Anybody, can you say what is a poetic device? I think this poetic device I discussed already in the class. Mighty dead. Anybody? See my expression itself. Mighty dead. Then tell me. Probably that is a clue. Anybody? Anybody? I'll give you chocolate when I come to school. Very good, Jonah. I'll give you oxymoron. Not Shivani, it's not a transferred epithet. Oxymoron. Clear. What is oxymoron? Two opposite qualities occur nearby. Mighty means powerful. Dead means nothing. No movement. Okay, mighty, powerful. Clear. Dead, nothing. So that is a oxymoron. Yes, Shivani, got it. Okay, fine. All lovely tales that we have heard or read. See, even the stories that all the lovely, the great stories that we heard, okay, interesting stories we heard, that we read, okay, there is a beauty even in those stories. Even in, there is a beauty in those stories. Clear. All those beautiful things, all those beautiful things are an endless fountain of immortal drink. Immortal means everlasting. Okay, you all know what is the meaning of fountain. Immortal means everlasting, eternal. Okay, there is no end. Drink, immortal drink. Okay, so if you what is that, if you drink those beautiful things, that there is no end to you. Okay, that's the meaning of that. Clear. So here, and there is no end to all those beautiful things. There is no end to all those beautiful things. They are endless fountain. They are endless fountain, okay, of immortal drink. Clear. Immortal drink, underline endless fountain of immortal drink. That is a metaphor. Okay, that is a metaphor. Metaphor, it is one thing said to be another, one thing said to be another. Okay, so endless fountain of immortal drink is said to be another. Clear. Pouring unto us from the heavens brink. Clear. So brink means door of a God's house, door of a God's house. Okay, he opens the door of his house. He pours all those beautiful things to us from the heaven. Clear. That's all written by John Keats. I hope there won't be any doubts. Is there